Most people will never escape their cycle of bad habits, wasted money, and hopelessness. But you don't have to be one of them. If you're feeling hopeless right now, it's because you don't understand the rules of the game, and it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to change that. What if I told you your daily habits are the real reason you're stuck and no one taught you how to fix them? The rich keep getting richer and the poor stay poor, and that's not because life is unfair. It's because they learned how money works and they realized that anyone can plant a money tree as long as you understand the rules of money and change your daily habits. I've always heard about changing your habits, but it seemed almost impossible to me. There was no way I was going to break this generational curse that I've been stuck in for years. I couldn't shake my bad habits, and I truly felt like I was just broken, like there was no hope left for me. I spent most of my life waking up at noon, eating junk food, and doing whatever felt good in the moment, like playing video games, drinking beer with friends, just unhealthy habits that always held me back. I would spend every last dollar of my paycheck, whether it's on things that I thought I needed or things that I knew I didn't. I worked part-time and full-time jobs, but I had nothing saved. I never saved, and I was always broke somehow. Wonder why? I realized that every time I got paid, I ended up spending it all, and I never saved a portion of it for myself. I had no self-control, and people with no self-control always end up broke. Things stayed this way until I started watching self-improvement videos on YouTube, just like this one. We've all heard the 1% rule. If you just put in 1% every single day, then 1 year from now, you'll be 365% closer to your goals. That's a huge difference. The only other alternative is to still be stuck at the same level, which means if I don't take steps towards my goals, then I'll always never reach them. It doesn't matter if it's only a small step every day as long as you're moving forward. Don't be that person that only does work when they're feeling motivated or inspired. Random, short bursts of work aren't going to get you to your goals fast enough. You'll be dead by the time you see any progress. Instead, focus on watering your tree every single day. When the future comes, and as long as you're still alive, you'll look up and see a massive tree yielding fruit and producing more trees. It all starts with that small, consistent effort. Starting a savings for yourself, whether it's a piggy bank or a savings account, is the exact same thing as planting a tree. You put your first deposit in, whether it's $10, $100, or $1,000, and you consistently add to it. Every tree starts from a tiny little seed, and depending on what kind of seed and where you planted it, it has the potential to grow astronomically. If you start your savings under your mattress or in a piggy bank, your money is just going to sit there and only grow when you add to it. That's like planting a tree in a pot. It can only grow so much until you eventually have to uproot it and plant it on firm ground where it can stretch its roots in order to grow exponentially. If you opened a savings account with 5% interest, your money will grow slowly over time. Combine the consistent stream of saving 10% plus the 5% annual yield, and you're now compounding. The secret to compounding is time, and lots of it. That's when your tiny little seed the size of a penny becomes a massive redwood tree. One that's strong and sturdy, and it produces more and more seeds of itself that all have the potential to eventually grow into their own trees as well. Once your savings starts to grow, you'll discover that money has magnetic properties. A large sum of money tends to attract more money, and your earning capability starts to increase. This is mostly because of leverage and partly because money has a set of universal laws that it follows, so it will always go where there's more of it. Similar to a snowball that starts off small and it gradually grows over time. And as it grows, it continues to collect more and more snow, widening the surface area of which it's able to collect even more snow. The bigger the snowball gets, the more surface area it has to collect even more snow, exponentially increasing its earning capability. This is called compounding, and there's so many different ways out there to achieve this effect. The reality is, money doesn't fall into the hands of someone who doesn't have any. It runs away from people who waste it, or even people who hoard it and never invest it or spend it. Money always finds its way to people who know what to do with it. to people who know how to turn it into even more money. That's why so many people think it's unfair that the rich get rich and the poor stay poor. But the truth is, the poor stay poor because they didn't plant any trees. Or even if they did, they never watered it, they planted it poorly, or they spent it too early. They choose not to educate themselves on the laws of money and the laws of the universe that we live in. We have to abide by these laws and make smart decisions every single day that compound into larger rewards over time. If you try to cheat the system by getting rich quick or taking what's not yours, karma will eventually find a way to get even. I found this out myself when I learned about leverage trading. I started a savings with crypto and I ended up leverage trading it. Long story short, I wanted to get rich quick and ended up gambling away the only money tree I ever planted before it even had a chance to grow. That is just sad. Since I had just started that savings, you could say, oh well, at least it wasn't that much. But in reality, I also lost the potential gains that I could have had in between the time from then and now. I would have been 3 years further along had I kept growing that thing. And the crypto assets that I would have purchased back then would have appreciated tremendously. I think Bitcoin was at $9,000 at the time when I had this money. The point is, I would have been a lot further along by now if I would have stayed consistent with this savings. You have to ask yourself if you can afford to lose out on those potential gains down the road. If you keep telling yourself you'll start it later and you keep delaying it and keep putting it off, later will never ever come. Why would you wait until you're 30 to finally start planting money trees? And even if you are 30, you still can plant a money tree right now and have one when you're 40 or 50, and it doesn't matter as long as you start it right now in this moment that you realize you can do this for yourself. True wealth isn't acquired overnight. It's acquired with leverage and compounding habits. Because in this life, we can't enjoy rewards we didn't earn. If we teach ourselves the laws of money, and if we fix a problem and provide value, then money will start finding its way to us. That's just the way it works. Once you get a job, you get some sort of income stream going for yourself, plant a money tree and start watering it. Never uproot it unless you're 100% confident it's gonna grow better somewhere else. The only way you'll achieve these goals is if you plan your day the night before and stick to the formula. This is the one thing that's helped me become more productive than I ever have been. I use a tool called Habitica, and I put the to-do list widget on my phone's homepage. It's easy to access and I see it every time I check my phone. I also really enjoy leveling up my Habitica avatar because it's such a cool and unique way to track my actual real-life progress. It's motivating to know that all the gold I acquired came from doing productive things. And it's actually kind of fun to spend it at the shop every now and then. This app has honestly changed my life ever since I discovered it. And it wasn't a big, instantaneous change. It was a small change every single day that led me here, right now, sitting here recording this YouTube video. When I found it, I was just looking up habit trackers on the App Store, and Habitica just sounded like a cool name. This video isn't sponsored by Habitica, and I'm not affiliated in any way, but the only reason that you see me here right now is because I started using this app, because I've been checking off my to-do list, checking it twice. You're gonna find out if you're not or you're not. Now I can't even go to bed unless I've made my to-do list for the next day, because otherwise I won't sleep good. When I make a to-do list, the chances of me getting those things done are increased tenfold. I see it right away on my home screen when I unlock my phone, and I don't have to think twice about what I'm gonna do that day. I already know, and I knew when I laid my head down to go to sleep. I pictured myself sitting here reading this script and recording this YouTube video, then sitting down to edit it until it's completely finished, and then uploading it and scheduling it. I meditated on it, and I planned out how I was going to execute it. That way, when the time came, I was completely ready to do it. I was ready to complete this task and do it right. Every time I check off my to-do list, I advance further and further and closer to my goals, because I'm allocating my time and I'm focusing it on the top priority tasks that are gonna get me where I need to be faster. When we make our to-do list, we have a tendency to put a lot of things on there. And it's good that we want to be productive. However, it's not good to have so many different things on your to-do list. We need to learn how to say no to the things that are just going to waste our time and to say yes to the things that are going to get us closer to those goals. For example, I want to grow Eyes Open Media, which is this YouTube channel. And when I make my to-do list for tomorrow, I need to put things on there that are going to help me accomplish this specific goal. I should put tasks on my to-do list that are going to contribute to that growth, and I should do those things first. When we first start making to-do lists, we have a tendency to commit to doing so many other things, which can ultimately lead us to not accomplishing anything at all. This is something I learned from an Alex Hormozy video. Out of all the things on the to-do list, what is the one thing that if I had this one thing done, I would be miles ahead of where I'm at right now? For me, it was making content for this channel. However, that one thing was always like number 5 on my to-do list. I was always putting it off until later, when it would have just taken a couple of hours of focused hard work to get it all done. The order in which you check off your to-do list matters just as much as what's on your to-do list. When I started Eyes Open Media, the problem that I had is I was also starting a bunch of other YouTube channels as well, in a bunch of different niches like crypto, gaming, whatever I was interested in, whatever tickled my fancy at the time. And each time I made foolish investments of my time and resources to try to go viral fast. I was always chasing views and money instead of focusing on building the one thing that I've committed myself to already that's built on a solid foundation. These side quests and get rich quick schemes were draining me of all my resources, including time. I kept putting the most important thing off until later, and a lot of times I ended up never getting to it because of that. I now know that I should have done it first from the start, but of course I was stubborn and I thought I knew everything back then. It took me a long time to realize that I was investing my resources poorly. I had to accept reality and understand that the percentage of people who attain wealth all of a sudden for doing nothing is extremely low. When I was younger, I always thought that was me. I would be one of the lucky 0.0000034% of the US population that ends up winning the lottery jackpot. I'll become a multi-millionaire, spend all kinds of money, and never run out of it. I was so stupid. Nowadays, I would rather take chances betting on myself. By the way, guys, if this video is bringing you any value, make sure that you leave a like and comment down below if you have anything you want to say to me. I really appreciate all the feedback that I'm getting on these videos. I'm out here just filming B-roll for this video. You already know how it is. It just looks amazing out here, and there's so much content to capture. It's so beautiful. I didn't have to pay anything to come and see this sunset. So here we are. Subscribe if you want to see more eye-opening content. And let's get back to the video. I would rather be that percent of the population who contributes to society by solving problems and providing value. Someone who's focused on a mission that's much bigger than just money. Someone who understands the value of having wisdom versus just getting a quick bag of cash. In The Richest Man in Babylon, they share a parable about a wealthy man offering a choice between a large sack of gold or the wisdom to produce that gold over and over again. Of course, the fools chose the large sack of gold. They wanted that quick cash. They wanted that quick bag. They thought they hit the jackpot. More gold than they've ever had in their life. The first thing they do is call their family and friends. They split a generous amount with their loved ones, maybe even bless their homies to impress them. Then they go and buy all the things they've ever wanted. A carriage, jewelry, a house, which is actually a good investment if you can afford to maintain it. They take a trip to Disneyland, New York City, Los Angeles. They spend a large chunk of their wealth on things that won't ever make them any money back. They never even consider learning how to invest it, or even consider buying a book just like this one and learning how money works. They take it straight to the horse races, or they'll take it straight to the gambling tables, and they expect to hit it big and make even more money with very little effort, which is a crazy way to ensure your financial future. I mean, casinos are literally built to take profits from you. They're not built to make you rich, man. People who hit it big out of nowhere typically become addicted to that feeling, and they can't get enough of it. They make terrible financial decisions which are guided by their emotions, or sometimes even drugs and alcohol, gambling money that could have went into assets like cryptocurrencies or stocks, which would have been worth more over time as it appreciated. Money that could have purchased solid books about money, investing, or business. Money that could have been spent on a 10-hour course in order to get certified in a skill and produce more money for yourself over and over again. I like this story of the fools choosing the bag of cash over the wisdom because I was that fool before. This is literally talking about me. I once had a nice big bag of cash that came from the government during the pandemic. I bought all kinds of stuff when I got it. It's the most money I had ever had. I took a vacation. I gave some money to my family. I bought some of my homies some stuff. I bought myself an ounce of weed. I was paying all my bills. I was big chilling. I spent so much money so fast. I had never spent so much money in my life before. Maybe a small percentage of it wasn't a total waste, but I could have invested it into something and had a nice big money tree by now if I would have done that. This is why we have to learn from our mistakes and not make them again. So how do I actually plant a money tree when it seems like I can never get ahead? For years, I had no idea what I was doing with my money. Every paycheck that came in seemed to vanish just as quickly. It wasn't until I read The Richest Man in Babylon that something finally clicked in my head. The idea of paying myself first, setting aside at least 10% of everything I earned as a seed for my future, hit me like a revelation, like I've never heard it before, even though I literally have. It took me up until now to finally realize this. Money, like the book said, is a seed, and every tree starts from a single seed, planted and nurtured. I'd always dreamed of financial security and making my money work for me, but I never acted on it. Now, with the baby on the way in just 2 months, the stakes are higher than they ever have been. I knew I had to stop wasting money, and I knew it was time to start planting seeds. When I looked at my situation, I had around $200 left from my last paycheck before I got laid off of my last job. It wasn't much, but it's enough to get started. I decided to allocate my savings into USDC, which is a stable cryptocurrency, and a smaller percentage of it into altcoins just to keep it fun. I'm also staking my USDC in order to earn at least a little bit of interest on it every single year. That way it can grow slowly over time. I'm not a financial expert. I'm literally just some guy in his bedroom making YouTube videos, but I truly believe 3 years down the road, I will see a lot of progress as long as I stay consistent. For so long, I've ignored the power of consistency, but the wise man from the book said something that stuck with me. You won't even notice it once it becomes a habit. By committing to putting 10% away every single paycheck, I'd be building something tangible for the future. I'll learn to live on the other 90%, and eventually I won't even notice it. That is how you build real wealth. You don't spend your profits once you earn them. You plant them again and again, and you only start spending it when you have more than enough to take care of you and your family for the next 5 to 10 years, maybe even for generations to come. I calculated the numbers. It would take $520,000 to earn $500 per week in interest at a 5% APY rate. Most people would just blow that money if they ever acquired it, just like I did when I acquired that money back then. Now, I would rather use that to buy myself $500 a week. If I did that, I basically just bought myself a full-time job and I never have to show up. I can collect my interest checks, continue to invest 10% to continue to grow my money tree, and I can start planting even more money trees, eventually building a whole forest of wealth. That way, if one tree gets chopped down or another one dies, you have plenty more to fall back on. That is why rich people seem like they just have unlimited money. It seems like it's so unfair, and most people tend to think that money comes from one thing, but that is never the case. Diversification is the key to financial stability. There's cash, stocks, bonds, crypto, real estate, commodities like gold and silver. There's businesses to invest in. There's products that still need to be made. When it comes to owning assets, never put all your eggs in one basket. If you have your wealth spread out, you'll always have something to fall back on, giving you peace and stability that most people never get to enjoy because they always rely on one income stream, like their 9-to-5 job, which I recently found out for myself can be easily taken away from you. The most important investment you'll ever make is the one that you make in yourself. Learn a skill, sharpen it, and train yourself. You'll be able to increase your earning capability and finally climb out of that dark hole that you've been in for so many years. Of course, I didn't learn all of this on my own. I've been gaining experience throughout my life, and I've been reading more and more books written by successful people who know more than me. I know I still have a lot to learn, but now I have this newfound confidence since I've started to plant seeds and track my habits. I use tools like ChatGPT to help me sort my thoughts, and honestly, it's helped me through some pretty crazy times. This may sound crazy, but one of the most important realizations I've ever had was when I was using ChatGPT. I caught myself pulling up ChatGPT one day to dive into crypto. I had a sudden determination to somehow invest a little bit of money and turn it into a whole lot of money. I started typing out an elaborate plan to ChatGPT, and then I suddenly caught myself in the act. I realized in that moment that I was starting another side quest. I was supposed to be writing a script for this channel that day. Instead, I randomly decided I was going to become a crypto expert and make $1 zillion. With consistency, discipline, and a clear vision, I know that you have the capability to plant a seed and grow a forest of opportunities. My baby will be born in a world where their parent finally figured out how to make money work for them instead of the other way around. Even though it's going to take time, this is going to be a legacy worth building. My name is Daniel. Remember to always keep your eyes open. Have a blessed day.